Hi, and welcome to another episode of Missy Away Health and Wellness. If you're a mom like me who has a child with food allergies or another immune compromised condition, I can confidently say that the thoughts of fear and anxiety have likely crossed your mind a time or two. Your child gets invited to the birthday party. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? Gosh, what are they going to have to eat? What if something is cross contaminated? What happens if something happens? How do we educate our kids to advocate for themselves? Should I stay? Should I go? Should I be there? I know the feelings start reeling in your mind like a play by play of anxiety, and you get on that wheel, and then you think, gosh, should they even just stay home? Maybe that would be easier. But the truth is, how do we figure out how to keep our kids from being a burden with the allergies that they have? Stop apologizing for their medical conditions, and ultimately enable them with education so that they can advocate for themselves and know what to do in any situation where we're putting them. So, if your child is young, that might be a little bit harder to do. Maybe they don't know all the things, and you have to be an advocate and educate the parents who are going to be a part of the party or a part of the event or the sleepover or whatever it is that we want them to do. How do we navigate that? Well, one of the easiest things that I have found is address it head on. Explain to the parents, hi, my kid has a food allergy. These are the things that we need to avoid. And the truth is, most parents are understanding and accommodating. Occasionally, you will get the ones who are fearful and like, oh gosh, we're gonna like, oh, do I need to do something? Like, what do I have to do? Like, it can be a lot. And so I would encourage you, if that is something that you are fearful about, that you come up with an action plan and a sustainable script of things that parents should look for, but also things that they shouldn't worry about. Because the truth of it is, we can't expect all other parents to become PhDs in food navigation and nutrition. It's just not feasible. So, what do we do? Well, one of the biggest things that I had to do as a mom is yes, do I still have the anxiety? Absolutely. But I also had to put together my steps that I knew that I wanted my son to be able to live life to the fullest and be able to participate in things as if he were part of it, even if it looked a little different than everybody else. And that was okay. It took me a while to get there. I was very scared at first when it was all new and I didn't understand. And we had to read labels and we had to figure out all of the pieces. And it was terribly, terribly overwhelming. And chances are you have felt that way too. The way that I addressed it when my son was taken to a birthday party, early on, yes, I would stay. I would make sure that I was there and I took his safe food with me to make sure that it matched as closely as possible to what it was the other children were having. Maybe they were having cupcakes. My son couldn't do cupcakes because of about 3 or 4 different ingredients that are typically included in them. So, what I would do is I would either make my own with my own recipe, or I would bring him a safe cookie or something else that was dessert like that I knew that he would enjoy so that he wouldn't feel completely different than all of the rest of the kids. I would bring his own chips. I would bring his own fruit, knowing that I cut it with a clean knife that wasn't going to cross contaminate with other foods that he was highly allergic to. That was paramount for me. But it was a way that I could allow him to participate, but it wasn't keeping him from joining in the fun and doing all of the things that other children his age were able to do. As he got older, that was a little bit harder because he started realizing how different he was. And he said, I don't understand why I can't have everything that everyone else is having. And he would start to get really down on himself. And that is something that we still have to work through from time to time. And he will get in his mind, like, I don't understand why I have to be the one that has food allergies. Why do I have to be the different one? I hate these food allergies. This is awful. Like, can I just have them taken away? And as much as I wish the answer to that was yes, I know that we have to work within the parameters that we've given. And we also have to work with the cards that we've been dealt. One thing that I absolutely do is I acknowledge my child's feelings. I don't dismiss them. It does suck. I hate it. I really hate it. It's awful feeling like you have to keep your child away from all of these great things that other children just don't even have to think about. If they want to have the cupcake, they have the cupcake. If they want to have the slice of pizza, they get the slice of pizza. If they want to have strawberries, they can just have strawberries. It's not a big deal for people who don't have food allergies because you just don't think about it every day. So, what I do with my son is I try to educate and say, look, I know things have to be different for you, but the best that we can do, and what I will always try to do, is find the closest substitute humanly possible to what it is that other people are having in and around him. Kids want to belong. They want to be like their peers. We all did growing up, and shoot, we even like to do that as adults. We don't want to be seen as the burden or the extra and being the special one. But I would encourage you to tell your child and yourself, don't apologize for the condition that you have. It's not your fault. It's just how the cards are, and it's what we have to deal with. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, I can't eat that, and putting somebody off of maybe they just don't like it or whatever, be upfront with them. Clarity is kindness. And if you can tell someone, I'm sorry, I have an allergy, I can't eat that, they're far more understanding and also will receive that information a lot easier than not being upfront and clear with them. Help your child to own their allergy, but not let it become their identity. We don't want a world where we are constantly fearful of all the foods and all of the things that could go wrong. And while that's a real reality, we need to change our perspective. Perspective needs to be, I have this, so what are my tools and what can I do to accommodate this? That means perhaps bringing your own food. That also could mean educating the people who you're around, because quite frankly, a lot of people, as understanding as they are just outright scared. They don't want to hurt your child. They don't want to hurt you. So they don't know what to do. And they're like, oh gosh, I don't know. If you educate them and you are upfront with them of saying, okay, my child, I know you want to help, and we can do it a couple different ways. My child can have this, this, and this. So if you want to make one of those 3 foods, that should be fine. And these are the ingredients to do. Okay, that's one method. Another method is to say, I know you really want to help. I know that you have other foods that you want to serve everyone. If you would like to try to make something, that's great. And if not, I will absolutely be happy to bring something for them. Take the burden and the ownership off of them so that they don't feel like, oh, if I do something wrong, I don't know. That's helpful. If you explain to them, let's say your child needs to stay for a party or they're going for a sleepover or something like that, help them understand what to do if something goes wrong, who to call, what kind of medicine to administer, and then what the next steps would be so that they don't feel paralyzed in the moment and panic. I feel the more that we can educate, and that does not mean giving them all the information and giving them a play-by-play book that overwhelms them. But it does mean educating them with steps and tools on how to navigate a situation should something go awry. What to look for, what to think about in the way of foods. If a child is having Cheetos and your child happens to be allergic to milk, how do we fix that? How do we make sure that we don't have the cross contamination from the Cheetos into your child's mouth? Well, we wash our hands. And if we can help educate families about those sort of things, it will go a long way. Something else that we need to do is we need to stop making inclusion about food. In other words, if you know that your child is going to a party, or maybe they're going trick-or-treating, or any of the other celebratory things that we have in our society today that does typically revolve around food, we don't have to say, "Oop, food bad, can't go." Instead of making the grand gestures of inclusion or non-inclusion based off of that one thing, we as moms have to look inside and say, okay, what are ways that we can still fold our children in, but maybe not have it be exactly everything that every other child is doing? As an example, if your child is going to a birthday party and maybe all of the kids are helping the celebrant blow out their candles. Let your child participate in that. That's fun. And so they all get around, they all blow the candles out, and then it's great. And then each of them has their cake, but your child has their special food. If your child can or has to avoid certain candies at Halloween because of milk or sugar or whatever, that doesn't mean that they can't go trick or treating. That's actually one of my son's favorite things to do is to go trick or treating with his friends because it's the act of collecting candy. And then when we get home, we end up trading things out. So what I have is a bucket of all of the things that are not food related, i.e. pencils and toys and maybe even little coupons to go to like our favorite little soft serve ice cream place or that has like dairy free options. Like all of those things are possibilities. Or maybe they get 5 extra minutes on their tablet time, or we get to go to a special park or do something fun like that. But they get to trade those things in, like the temporary fix of, a sweet little treat on the tongue with candy. And we can either do safe candies, we can do toys, we can do experiences, like we can do this whole thing. And it makes it really fun and enjoyable for them. Because guess what? They didn't get to miss out on the activity of collecting all the things. Their reward just happens to look a little bit different on the other side of that. Same goes for school. I was so scared of having my child start school. And I thought, how are we going to do this with the lunchroom? Like, what if there's cross contamination? What if a child touches him? What if he accidentally gets the food that he shouldn't have? Like, all of those kind of things. That's where education with the school staff was paramount. We ended up setting up a 504 plan through our school district that enabled us to have different tools, different procedures, different accommodations that were necessary for my child to be able to have a great experience there so that I didn't have to live in fear like, oh gosh, what if something happens? Everyone is educated on this plan at the start of every school year. And then I take it upon myself to meet with every teacher that he has to make sure that they are aware of what's going on. A lot of teachers have seen a lot of 504 plans, and some can be dismissive of being like, okay, great, another 504 plan. Some are great, and then ultimately like comb through it and know detail by detail of what's going on. But I like to take that extra step of meeting the teachers, giving them a face to a name, explaining to them how I am more than happy to help in any way possible, to let them know, hey, give me a call, text me, do whatever you need to do. Because we have it written in his 504 plan that he's not allowed to have any food provided by the school or from anyone else outside of us. So then the question came, okay, well, what do we do with like birthday parties? Like everybody has a birthday to celebrate, especially at the elementary level, and they'll bring cupcakes in or desserts or whatever, and he can't have those. So what do we do? I have a little stash of candy that I know is safe for him that the teacher keeps in the classroom. And if something unexpected like that comes up, great. Tools, resources that he can have on the spot, and they don't even have to ask because they know it's already been approved. If they can give me a heads up ahead of time that, hey, somebody's bringing in donuts or somebody's bringing in cupcakes or somebody's bringing in cookies or like whatever it is, oftentimes I can send something in for him. Same is true for field day. Like we have a field day at our school where the kids will eat popsicles and run around and have and play and have these great obstacle courses that these teachers put together, and it's a fabulous time. But to the point about the popsicles, more times often than not, my son can't have the popsicles that are provided. Namely, because even if they are a fruit popsicle, apples are something that bother him. So, how do we work around that? I have been able to work it out with our school nurse that she has a freezer and she has a refrigerator anyway for certain types of medicines that various children throughout the school have to have on a regular basis. But she also happens to have a freezer. And the beautiful thing is if I put a little cooler together in the morning, pack it up with ice packs, and put his little safe popsicle in there, he is then allowed to either take that down on the field with him and they'll put it in the cooler and it has his name on it and like all the things, and they know this is the one that this child gets. Or he's allowed to go to the nurse's office after the fact and grab that popsicle and enjoy it too. But that way, he is not missing out. He is not seen as, why does everybody always get all of the privileges and I don't? But he is able to participate. And 9 times out of 10, other children have no idea what's going on. That is something else that we have had to work through as of late with my son, and thinking everybody is staring at me. Everybody knows I'm different. Everybody thinks I'm weird. And I feel like a crazy person, and I just don't even want to be around anybody. As much as you can, support your child's feelings, validate them. They're real. Perception or not perception, like the perception is what has made the reality. The more that your child understands that you get where they're coming from, the more that they will listen to you, and the more that they will say, okay, maybe I can just try it this way. It's not perfect all the time, and it won't be 100% success rate all the time. But the best thing we as moms can do is try and advocate for our children as much as humanly possible. And what I told him is that, baby, there are not people who are staring at you and thinking, ooh, he's weird. He's doing all these things and he's not like us and he can't ever have anything. They don't think about it as much as you think they do. Promise. And I asked, I was like, has anybody ever said anything? He said, no. Yeah. Because if they are used to you having the extra, they're like, okay, he just has extra. And they don't think anything of it and they move on. That's what kids do. If you get a child by chance who gets really like questiony and asking a lot of things, answer with simple questions of saying, why are you so different? Well, this is the way my body was made. Or why do you have that? Well, it's because it tastes good to me and because it makes my body feel good. Those are the kind of things that you can answer in a succinct, easy way for a small child to understand. And chances are they're going to drop it after that. And then those who are teenagers and older adults, thankfully, we are in a society today that is far more understanding and accommodating than it has ever been. I remember when my husband had food allergy, or still has food allergies, but when I found out he had food allergies, and we were trying to find substitutes and figure out things that he could do, places he could eat, all of the things, it was hard. And that was a while ago. Where we have come since then to now is light years. And for that, I'm forever grateful. I'm so glad that we finally have labels that indicate what the top few allergens are and if they are present in that particular product. They will also tell you may contain. So if you're worried about cross contamination, if you have a truly severe allergy where you can't even be around it, much less ingest it, those are the kind of labels that help. Restaurants are becoming more accommodating. Thank goodness people are getting educated about this. And I truly believe it is because we are starting at the school level. It's not so much an abnormality anymore. Instead, it's almost becoming a normal, as much as I hate to say that, because it never should be normal. And I hope that someday we can start healing ourselves from the inside out and it won't have to be a normal anymore. But for now, this is what we're dealing with. This is how we navigate things. And these are the types of steps and things that to put in place to not only ease your child's anxiety, but to ease your own as well. And that's what I want to come to next. Mom anxiety is real. I'm very guilty of it as well. And it's a real struggle when you know that danger is all around. And if you have experienced anything with your child that was a reaction, where it was a close call, where it was a mystery and you had no idea what was going on, and you've had an ER visit, or 3 or 8 or however many there have been, you learn that danger is all around. And that is a real anxiety and something that we should acknowledge. As moms, it's hard. All we are wired to do is take care of our babies, keep them safe, and help them grow up into beautiful people that God designed them to be. How do we do that when we feel like fear is all around us all the time? My biggest advice to you is to take this in small steps. Number 1, pray. Pray to God that He will give you the clarity, that He will give you the expertise, and that He will give you the diligence and patience to learn about allergies and to become aware of the different burdens that are out there. Pray for peace in your heart, that He would calm your anxiety, and while it's still there, not let it consume you completely. Number 2, educate yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself with 500 different Google links that are out there and just be completely indoctrinated in this and think, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do all of it. That's not helpful. But what I am suggesting is that you take it in baby steps. Learn how to read a label. Learn what the names are for ingredients that are not for common ingredients, but the names that are not common, i.e., milk could also be known as whey. Okay, those kind of things. Learn that stuff. And then 3, come up with your toolkit. Figure out the resources that you need in order to keep your child safe with all of the examples that I talked about before, but then also giving yourself a peace of mind that you know that you have done the best job you can do to keep your child safe without keeping them from all of the beautiful, wonderful, celebratory things in their childhood. The biggest thing that we want to do is be an advocate for our child, but we don't want the identity of who they are to be their food allergy or their medical condition. Yes, it's absolutely a part of them. Yes, it's something that we can't ignore. And we have to be careful, even with the people who, so you have 2 classes. You have one who's like really worried about, oh gosh, I don't want to hurt your child. But then you have the others who are like, oh, a little bit won't hurt. We have to be an education resource to let them know, nope, absolutely, it can hurt. And we definitely need to take this into consideration. These are the steps I need you to follow, and this is how we're going to keep our child safe. Those are key and paramount. But I truly believe that education is power, not overwhelm, not flooding them with so much information that they don't know what to do or they feel scared about it too, or just, you know what, little Johnny, maybe we'll just come to your house next time. And instead of being that place where they feel like your child would be safe in their home or safe with them, it goes both ways. You need to have your plan together, but you also need to share it with the other parents or other caregivers so that they feel empowered and enabled as well. And what to do in the case of an emergency is huge. But if we as moms can take a beat and say, okay, I know I have a lot on me. I know this is highly stressful. I know this is life and death in a lot of cases. And it's very, very serious. Let's acknowledge that. 100% let's acknowledge it. But let's not stay there. We need to pivot our perspective. And while this is a very real thing over here, we need to pivot our perspective and make sure that we are not only advocating for our child, that we are giving ourselves all of the tools that we need to know that our child is safe, but we need to translate that over to our child so that they don't walk through the world fearful and that they can walk through educated so that one day when we're not here, they can be their own advocate. The more you can be an education piece and a calm presence in a situation that can otherwise be highly anxious, nervous, racking, like the whole thing, the better that you will equip your child to navigate through this world, and the better you will sleep at night knowing you have done all of the things you can do to prepare your child to live with this condition that is just part of their DNA. If this has been helpful for you, for other moms, please feel free to share it. Please get the word out about what it is we're trying to do here, which is equip and empower other moms who have children with food allergies and other chronic illnesses to be their own best advocate and to give them the tools, the resources, and tactics that they need to navigate this world. I hope that you will continue to follow along, like and subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you to continue on this journey with me as I share more practical tips, different philosophies, and other practical things that you can implement into your everyday lives. So until next time.